Hello, my name is Qweita Eastman, and I'll be returning as an SRA in the year of 2020 and 2021. So for the first question, what I've learned so far this year as an SRA or an RA was really to truly adapt to my environments and to changes in my environment. I recently came from University Village Suites, and I'm now in University Village, and I thought that the community was going to be the same, but it turns out it's not. I thought the residents were going to be the same. I thought that I was going to do the same things that I did last time in University Village Suites community, but just better in the University Village community, and that just turned out not to be the case. And that honestly is a good thing that I can say, because it really did teach me to adapt to my environments and to do a great job in my new environment. So that was really one thing that I learned, because the residents are different. The way they live is different. They're more independent than students or residents in University Village Suite. They come out less. I feel like it's a little bit difficult to reach out to them, or it's very different the way that you reach out to them compared to the University Village Suites community. So it definitely taught me to, be able to adapt to the changes in my environment gracefully. How will I continue to contribute to housing and residence life is definitely being the RA I am and being the resource to my residents, because I know somewhere in the mission and the vision of why housing and residence life exists, or what the purpose of it is for, is definitely to be a resident or be a resource to the residents that live on campus, and to be there for them, especially first year students or just residents in general, just being that resource, being that guidance, and kind of being there for them. So continuing to do that and continuing to follow by housing and residence life goals, missions, visions, and purpose of the department. Continue to support that and continue to follow by it or follow through with the things that housing and residence life has set for us, like the foundation that they've set for us, continuing that and making it better, and being a part of the greatness that housing and residence life is continuing to build. Also keeping that positive attitude about everything that, housing and residence life has built as well. Keeping that positive attitude and spreading that attitude amongst the department and amongst the different people and residents, especially other people who are on campus that are not even a part of the department. Having that positive attitude about what housing and residence life, does and why we do it. Just being that advocate, being that support system, and continuing to be a resource to my residents, and the housing and residence life staff. The way that I upheld the first expectation of administrative skills is by definitely, first and foremost, turning things in on time and in a timely manner. Whatever timestamp that the person or my RD or supervisor gives me, I make sure I turn it in right when they need it, or I turn it in before they need it, because I don't know how that may benefit them in the long run. I make sure that I'm communicating with them. If I have any questions, comments, or concerns about the tasks that they've given me, I make sure I ask plenty of questions and I communicate effectively with them, so that I make sure there's no mistakes, no mess ups, or no misunderstandings on either one of our ends. I follow up afterwards. I make sure that the documents or anything that I've given them administrative wise, or any administrative tasks that I've been given, I make sure that I do them right. And I make sure that I go back again and make sure I follow through and ask them, is there anything else you need from me? Or I just make sure, that what I did was what they asked for and I did everything right. Another thing that I do is, the way that I have worked to uphold the expectation of a community development is definitely learning my community. That was the first thing I did, especially because I was walking into a new community that was different from what I was in last year. I definitely walked in with a fresh mind and wanting to accept, anything new or anything that I knew was going to be different from my last community. So that was the first thing I did, was definitely learning them. And so the main way that I learned them was through roommate agreement meetings, the first floor meeting, the second floor meeting. These were moments and times that I was able to communicate with them the most and have their full attention and show them, that I'm an open book and, you can come talk to me about anything you want. And this was also my opportunity to kind of read them and see how they are and make sure that I'm able to serve them as an RA as best as I can. A few community development events that I did was like definitely study sessions to kind of give me a chance to, talk with them in between, study times or in between assignments, or if some people just wanted to come and chillax and some peace and some peace and quiet and, just focus on meditation or anything like that, they came to my study sessions as well. And I held those study sessions in my room so I can show them, like you're welcome in my space and I'm very open to you. And it also makes them feel very comfortable, especially if they're not like, in the UVC where there might be other people from different communities coming in. And it's not like, like that personal one-on-one time or that one-on community time that they can have. Some residents just feel a little bit more comfortable being, surrounded by people they're familiar with. And so that absolutely worked. When I was having those study sessions, that was an opportunity for me to definitely look at them, watch them, and see how they are in their ways. And I learned a lot about them during those moments. That has definitely helped shape what my hall looks like now. And I have a lot of passive initiatives, and that's mainly because of how my residents are. So I have a calendar, I have a community calendar, which residents can put their birthdays, their any events that they have coming up that's maybe special to them. I also have a whiteboard where they can put their thoughts and feelings on there. I'll ask weekly questions. And so those weekly questions will be like, like who's your favorite superhero or something of that nature. And lastly, I have a resemblance of a Proud Mom fridge. And so it's the big Cookie Monster. And so they're able to give the Cookie Monsters, and I have cookies on the side of it and tape and markers. And so they're able to write what they're proud of and stick it on the Cookie Monster, and I'll be able to go back and read it. And, they can either label it with their name, not label it, but it's something that I definitely appreciate when they go up and just tell me what they're proud of, whether it's as simple as I made an A on my first test or, I made an A on a test or a B on a test or a C, whatever they're proud of on a test that they thought was very, very, very difficult. And so those are some passive initiatives that I have set for them because I know, some residents, especially ones in University Village, they don't like to get out of their room a lot. And there might be some that may not want to come to those events because, they're busy or anything like that, but I still want them to feel a part of the community. And so that's one way I'm continuously to being able to develop that community is by, allowing them to be a part of it, even, when they feel like they can't. So those are some ways that I have upheld the expectation of community development, and there's more to come. The way that I have upheld the expectation of emergency procedures, policy reinforcement, and community standards is by definitely making sure I'm up to date on any of the things that I need to know, any new procedures or policies that I need to know, and definitely keeping up to date about the things that have happened in the past or policies that have already existed. I find myself sometimes slipping up, especially, when they're always coming to ask me questions. I'm definitely a resource to them, and I'm definitely here to help them. And sometimes I can find myself slipping up, but once I do, I make sure I go back and I read the policies, I read the procedures, and I make sure that I stay on, my P's and Q's, and I'm making sure I'm up to date on that because I don't, always face these problems every day, or I might not face them as much as RAs who are on duty. Other things like community standards, I make sure that my residents are up to date on those things as well. I always communicate with my RD about any new policies or procedures that have to do with the community. And I always, remind my residents and, I remind myself, and I always remind the RAs when, sometimes we all forget or sometimes it can slip our minds. And so I make sure that, we all are up to date on it. We all know. And if we are confused about anything, especially me, I would definitely use my RD as a resource or my area coordinator as a resource. So I can make sure I'm a better resource for my residents and the RAs that are on the staff. The way that I uphold the last expectation of staff dynamics and leadership is I always try to keep a positive attitude. I always try to walk in the room with a smile. And even if I don't, I always try to crack a joke or I'll laugh just to lighten up the mood. Because sometimes when, we're getting down to business, especially RA business, it can be kind of serious, especially with some changes that may be coming around. So I always try to make sure I make light of everything. And I always try to keep a positive attitude and be that support system for my residence director and for housing and residence life in general. That is one way that I contribute to our staff dynamics. I also make sure I come with fresh ideas and I make sure that, you know, I communicate with my RD and I'm continuously being a resource for him. And one way that I do that for him is I try to like come up with a few things, that staff bonding activities that we can do in our staff meetings that pertains to, you know, being a better leader, being a better RA, and being a better staff member, or having that positive attitude. And not only that, but kind of like finding yourself. And those staff bonding or staff activities that we do are definitely, I feel like it's beneficial, and that's one way that I've contributed to our staff, is just making sure I continue that positive attitude, bringing those new and fresh ideas, and bringing those fresh activities that can kind of like better our leadership skills, better our communication, better us as an RA, and sometimes even as a person. We talk about time management, we talk about just different things that can contribute to your everyday life. So I think that's very important, and that's one way that I've contributed and upheld that expectation as a RA. How have I grown as a returner? I can definitely find myself becoming more outspoken, more positive, more acceptance of constructive criticism from my supervisors and other RAs. Um, I have found myself being able to adapt to changes more now than before, because, like I said before, I moved to a different community. I'm not in University Village Suites anymore, I'm in University Village. And I can say that was my challenge, was definitely trying to figure out how I can reach out to the residents and how I can, you know, kind of be there for them in the way that I was there for my residents last year. And I felt like it was a little bit easier, but not really. It was different. It was different in University Village Suites than it is in University Village. The residents are different. The way you have to communicate with them are different. The programs I put on are different, especially because I had to learn who my residents were, why they were the way they were, how they think, how they act, and what they are interested in. And so being able to learn that helped me especially uphold my expectation of community development. And it made me a better RA, is being able to adapt to that change. And it made me reach out to my residents way more than I did last year, and being able to communicate with them, which bettered my communication skills, it bettered my people skills, it bettered my leadership skills. It just bettered so many of the skills that I've already upheld or had. And I have Housing and Residence Life to thank for that. But as a returner, I think that, you know, those are some ways that I've grown and I've changed. Is definitely having that more positive attitude about changes. And being able to take that and keep moving and be a good RA and be better than I was before. A challenge that I had was definitely moving to this community and being able to reach out to my residents. At first, I thought it was going to be a struggle, but as I began to learn who my residents were and learn my residents and learn the community, it was just better from there. I felt like, you know, I got really good. I got really good at communicating with them. I got really good at making the events. My my moment where I felt like I succeeded and I felt pretty good about it was when I did my Halloween pop-up event. That's when I knew I definitely changed, and I definitely was conquering the challenge that I faced this year or this semester. And I'm continuing to do better. And hopefully I'm able to grow from here, and this will no longer seem like a challenge to me, and I will overcome it by the end of the year. Thank you so much, Housing and Residence Life staff, for watching my video. I really appreciate the hard work and dedication that you put into this department and to the RAs. If you have any questions about anything that I may have said in the video, or any comments or concerns, please let me know. Or if there was anything that I didn't mention at all that you needed me to mention, please let me know, and I will try to do as best as I can to follow through with that. Thank you so much again, and have a great day.